everyone, and welcome back to the Balance and Built podcast. My name is Morgan.
My name is Shay.
And today our topic is going to be foundational nutrition. I feel like we both get so many questions at work, in our personal lives, online about what am I supposed to be eating? Are carbs bad? Should I be tracking everything? Is dairy going to break me out? Which diet am I supposed to be on? So we want to address that today. We recognize there's probably a lot of confusion in the wellness and fitness space with all these different fad diets, vegan, paleo, keto, fasting. So we're here to set the record straight, give you guys some foundational tips, and teach you how to build a meal and just have a more well-rounded knowledge when it comes to nutrition. Okay, so given my background and yours, I know we have like a little bit of a different philosophy when it comes to nutrition, but there are some things we definitely agree on. But to start, I feel like my philosophy is a lot more of like food as fuel or food as medicine, especially when it comes to healing from chronic health issues or things of that nature. When it comes to my own self building my meals, I really am prioritizing like blood sugar balance and hormone balance a lot when I'm building a meal, and gut health as well. And also just not trying to be perfect or aesthetic, but just trying to be the most nourishing and as much like micronutrients on the plate as well. I was just talking to my friend the other day about this. She comes from like a very macro perspective, and she wants to get into more like micronutrients and making sure she's getting like those vitamins and minerals. So I feel like that's kind of my wheelhouse, but I'll let you speak to yours.
Yeah, no, I think the one thing that we both like really have in common is the eating for fuel, eating for energy, because for like in the bodybuilding perspective, your body needs energy to function. Your body needs energy to run your hormones the proper way. Energy is food. Like we think of it, a lot of people think of food as taste, which of course like, people love to taste and enjoy food.
Yeah.
But essentially, like if you didn't eat for 30 days, you would die. That's why food is fuel, literally fuel for your body to run all your functions, to build the muscle that you need to create, you know, in the bodybuilding world, the aesthetic and the consistency. So from my perspective, I'm just gonna go from an outside of a bodybuilding perspective, because obviously bodybuilding is definitely a little bit more extreme. I come from somewhere where I'm always promoting all three macronutrients. I'm proteins, fats, and carbs. We want to make sure that we're getting all of those in. I've definitely learned a ton from Morgan about micronutrients, which has really helped my bodybuilding journey, and whether I'm in the in-season or the off-season. Another thing is that I always promote is find a plan that works for you. I'm really, I don't want to say against, because that's not the word. It's not against, but I'm a lot more like, you don't really need to follow a keto diet or a paleo diet or a what do they do that? The carnivore diet. Like, essentially, you guys, like, if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. All of those ways of eating can put you in a calorie deficit. Or if you want to maintain your weight, then you need to be eating at maintenance calories. And if you need to gain weight, then you need to be in a calorie surplus, which means you're eating more than you're burning. So those are kind of the ways that I come from. And the things that I try to teach everybody is, don't try to do what everybody else is doing. Don't try to jump on a trend. Actually learn what is good for your body and build a plan for you that is going to work for you and your habits and what your goals are. So that's kind of where my foundations mainly come from.
Yeah, no, I totally agree on finding what works for you. I feel like a lot of people make these claims about these different fad diets, like that is the diet, this is the magic pill, but it's like
there's no magic pill.
There's no magic pill, and everyone's body is so different. A big concept that I learned in my school was bioindividuality. So yeah, the vegan diet might be amazing for that guy over there, but for me, that doesn't fuel me. It doesn't make me feel my best. I need to be eating more higher protein. So I think it's not to say that people are wrong when they say that this is the best diet, but it's like, yeah, that works for them, and maybe for you something else would be better, because we are also unique.
Well, that's also too why a lot of people, you see them fall into something and fall out of things very quickly. If you are somebody, you know, we'll probably get more into this, I won't go too into it, but let's say you're somebody that does enjoy eating rice and pasta. Why would you go on a keto diet?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense, because it's not going to be sustainable for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's not for you.
Right.
Example, again, I'm a meal plan gal. I get told what to eat every single, just did an Instagram video on this. I get told what to eat every single day, 365 days a year, outside of my one free meal a week. that doesn't make me better or worse than anybody else. That just makes me who I am and what I like to do, and I can stick with that because that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know? And you have to find what's good for you and what sticks for you, otherwise you're not going to stick to anything.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to find what makes you feel your best. I used to be vegan, and I think it caused me a lot of health issues, but like I said, I know that can be great for some people,
Yeah.
so it just really depends, and it takes a lot of trial and error, and getting in the kitchen and cooking, and just finding your diet that's best for you. So, do you want to get into our foundations?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So, when we wrote the outline, you did such a great job writing the outline. I just wanted to add one thing because I know it's something we're probably going to be speaking a lot about, or at least in future episodes, or maybe when you guys hear the word macros. I know you said it, I already said it once, like why don't we just define what it is, right? Okay. So if everybody like goes into their cabinet right now, take a quick second, go to your cabinet and pull out whatever it might be. Maybe it's a bag of peanuts, or maybe it's chicken, whatever, I don't care. Turn it over and look at the nutrition label. A lot of people are always asking me, what the heck are macros and how do I track my macros, whatever. So look at the nutrition label. You're going to be looking at 3 main areas in terms of your macros. So it's going to be the grams of fat that is in a serving size. It's going to be the grams of carbs that are in a serving size, and the grams of protein that are in the serving size. So you can locate those 3 things on the back of any of your food labels, and that will tell you how many grams of the specific macro, fat, protein, or carb, that the serving size for that item has in it. And that's one big thing that people really mess up, is the serving size. I had someone tell me the other day that cookie crumble, the whole cookie, is only 300 calories. And I said, sweetie, the serving size is 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 of a crumble cookie might be 300
so
calories.
So the whole cookie is 1,200?
Correct. So you guys make sure when you are looking at your macros, you are looking at the serving size. On a chicken breast, normally they're in 4-ounce serving sizes. So the nutrition label is based on the serving size. So if you have 8 ounces, what's on the back of that nutrition label, you had that times 2. So if it says 22 grams of protein per 4 ounces, if you had 8 ounces, then you had 44 grams of protein. Right. So when people are talking about macro tracking, what they do is they say, I'm going to eat, and I'm literally just throwing out numbers, so do not follow these macros that I'm saying. I'm just throwing out numbers.
Just an example.
Yes. If someone says, I'm eating 150 grams of carbs per day, I'm eating 150 grams of protein per day, and I am eating 70 grams of fat per day, that means that they are counting up, and most people use apps now, it's really easy. They're counting up that nutrition label every time they eat and matching it with the serving size, and they're logging it in. And so let's say I had chicken and I had 22 grams of protein that was in my chicken, then I would do 150 minus 22. I don't do fast math, so whatever, however much you have left in the 130s, you have 130 grams of protein left to eat for the day. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, and that was kind of a long explanation, but a lot of people don't know what it is, and I'm sure it's going to come up, so let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, no, that was good. And also, back to the food label, if you are coming from my perspective, I also like to take a little look at the ingredient list.
Yes, I've learned to look at the ingredient list from Morgan.
Which I feel like that might be a little bit of a different episode, but just to quickly touch on it, take a gander at those ingredients and just see if you can pronounce them, if you know what they are, if they are recognizable to you, and try to eat foods that are as close to their whole natural form as possible is my philosophy. So
I do want to say something about that really quick. So the more ingredients that are on a list, typically the less satiating the food item is going to be.
Really?
So a lot of times people will be like, oh, Shay, I'm eating like 2-3 protein bars a day. I'm like, that is literally nothing. Like, your body is burning through your protein, your protein bars, because they're not whole ingredients that are in the food. So even though Morgan does come from the holistic background and I come from the more bodybuilding background, as a bodybuilder or someone that really takes health and wellness seriously, you do have to consider what she's talking about, because eating whole foods is what makes you full. Eating whole foods is what fuels your body. When you eat whole foods, you feel a lot more fuller, and we'll talk about that later. But if you have this long laundry, chicken,
it's empty
rice,
calories.
Ground beef, avocado, think about how many ingredients are in those. Right. Almost nothing. But you eat these, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a protein bar, go for it, have a protein bar, but your main meals should be filled with whole foods.
And I think the main source of your protein, in my personal opinion, should be from animal protein.
Yes.
There's different philosophies on that, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, all right.
All right, jump into it.
So we have 5 points that we want to hit. So number 1 is going to be, please eat enough.
For the love of God.
I can't get over it. I feel like so many women are under eating because they want to lose weight, but I really truly feel like that ends up doing them a disservice because they get into a place that is so metabolically unhealthy that their body holds on to the fat and they're not able to lose it. And I think under eating is just way more common than overeating.
And I want to expand on that really quick. I'm going to ask you guys a question. You know the number 10, right? If I said 10 minus 2, what is it?
8.
8. Okay. So how do you know how much food less to eat to lose weight if you don't even know how much food you are eating in the first place?
Wow, yeah.
So this is one thing that I drill into the people that I help. I do not coach people, at least right now, hopefully maybe, I don't know, eventually in the future. I'm not even going to say that. But I do help my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister, anyone that asks me for help, I always help them. But I always say, like, oh, your goal is to lose weight. Oh, okay, how much food are you eating? Mm-hmm. They have no idea. So how do I know how much to reduce their food by?
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. That's so reckless.
Right.
So if you do want to, quote, lose weight, you need to get your body in a consistent place where you are eating enough every single day. You have somewhat of an idea of what you're eating, or you don't need to track it, but you could look at it and say, all right, I'm probably eating this, or track it one day to understand, like, okay, I eat this much about 6 days a week, so I'm going to track it one day. I'm probably eating this amount. Okay, well, let's bring the calories up a little bit more, and let's get you to that maintenance point, and then now we know where you're at. We have the data. We have that number 10, so we know we can minus 2 and get results.
Yeah.
You can't get results if you don't know where you're at. If you don't have the data, there's nothing you can do. You guys, there's nothing you can do.
And another thing to know, when you are eating mostly whole foods, like clean proteins, carbs, and fats, a lot of the times those foods are less calorie dense, so you actually have to eat a higher volume of them, especially when it comes to like salads and vegetables, or even like chicken breasts. I feel like sometimes people undereat because they're not increasing the portion size because these unhealthy foods are so calorie dense. And they're not like making up for that when they're switching over to whole clean foods. So that's just another thing to note.
Well, and with the whole clean foods, like we had said earlier, when you're eating, most of you guys might think you're eating 4 to 5 ounces of chicken breast, but you're definitely not. Yeah. So if you weigh it, or don't, whatever, but like, do the fist size test and things like that. But when you are eating whole foods, you're getting more full. So you might think that you're eating a lot, or you're eating like a lot of calories, but you're actually not. You're just really satiated because you're eating whole foods.
Yeah.
Versus you could pile down 8 pieces of pizza and your body's gonna burn through and it doesn't really matter. But like, that's another reason why people undereat when they are trying to eat healthy, is because the food is more satiating, so they're getting fuller faster, but really you need to keep pushing the envelope to try to eat a little bit more.
And even though I do want to prioritize micronutrients and things of that nature, I do truly believe that protein, carbs, and fat are all so important for women's hormone balance, for gut health, for muscles, for satiety, for metabolic health. So it's not to say that I don't track macros. I think tracking to start can be really helpful, just like you said, to get an idea of how much chicken is a good serving of protein. And not to say that you have to measure it out on a food scale every single time for the rest of your life, but until you get familiar with what those portions visually look like, I think that can be helpful. And just want to throw out some easy protein ideas.
Ooh, love that.
For women, like, I'll just start rattling off. So chia pudding with protein powder, protein overnight oats, eggs, like even ground beef, avocado, that mixture can be really delicious. Good snacks I always go for are chopsticks, hard-boiled eggs, cottage cheese, Parmesan cheese actually is super high in protein, random fact.
Edamame beans are too.
Oh, edamame,
those have good protein in them.
Those are good. I do have a protein bar like a couple of times a week, but again, it's not like my main source of protein.
Yeah, your main source of protein should not come from
I would prefer to get it from the animal protein itself.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, to add to that list, chicken breasts, even chicken thighs, they're a little bit higher in fat, but doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like you already said, ground beef, any type of steak is really great, ground turkey.
Salmon, I love.
Salmon's great. So those are proteins, but you guys make sure you're just being careful with, women, we want to probably eat roughly around like our body weight in protein a day in grams. Okay, so if you weigh 80 pounds, you should eat 80 grams of protein or at least around that. So just also make sure you're eating enough carbs and fats. I feel like there's a lot of like trendiness right now about you need to have high protein, high protein, high protein.
It's like protein everything, protein popcorn, protein cereal.
Yes, and you guys, I'm telling you, if... Come on, Shay, keep it together. Peanut butter is not a protein. Peanut butter is not a protein. Look at the label on the back. We already talked about the labels. Turn it over, and there is more fat in peanut butter and carbs than there's more fat than there is protein in it. So if someone says power balls, protein power balls, and they're peanut butter and oats, you literally have like 4 grams of protein in there.
Yeah.
Or 4 to 7. It's not protein. So make sure whatever you're eating for your protein source at least has 10 to 20 in it.
It's also the moldiest nut, so stay away from it because...
Although guilty, I love peanut butter.
I do too, don't get me wrong.
But I use it as a fat.
I feel like, there's better nut butters and nuts that aren't going to be as moldy, which, whatever.
Okay, wait, freeze. If we're giving ideas for food. Okay, you guys, get your pens out and write this down right now. Okay, so I use a scale a lot. You don't need to use a scale, but I'm going to give you what you need for the best breakfast you will literally ever have in your life. Okay, here we go. So it is 50 grams of vanilla Kodiak pancake mix. Put that in a bowl. Okay. Then you're going to take your favorite protein powder. I use Ghost vegan protein powder. I love the chocolate one and the banana one. Amazing. Banana, pancake, whatever. Scoop, put that in there. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put water in there and you're going to stir it up until it turns into like a paste, and you're going to microwave it for 2 to 3 minutes. Then you're going to take it out. For your fats, okay, you're going to put a tablespoon of peanut butter on there, mess it around, and then you're going to put 110 grams of vanilla Oikos Greek yogurt on top. Literally the best breakfast you'll ever have. You have great carbs. By using a vegan, like we already had said, we prefer meats for protein, but in this case, for breakfast, I am not going to eat chicken for breakfast. So a clean protein powder like a vegan, plus you're getting it from your yogurt, and then you get the fats. And literally, you guys, it'll change your life. Comment below when you try it. Okay. All right. We can move on now. Sorry.
I feel like I need to say my current hyperfixation.
Okay, let's do it.
Too.
Let's do it. Okay. Also, by the way, I can't even eat that right now because I'm currently on bodybuilding prep, so I'm just letting you guys eat it. I'm going to live through you.
Okay, my current hyperfixation breakfast is chia pudding. I already mentioned it, but it's literally amazing. Not to be like TMI, but it really makes me be regular, which I feel my best. You're not detoxing if you're not pooping, peeing, and sweating, so you guys need to be making sure you're doing all those things. Otherwise, the toxins are going to come out in other ways and cause other health issues. For me, it comes out in my skin. For other people, it can come out later on in life as, like, not to fearmonger, but diseases like cancer and things like that. So anyways, chia pudding, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, half a cup of milk. I like to do coconut milk, and then I add a scoop of protein powder. I really like the Aura organic plant protein. Another good one that is actually animal-based is Equip, which it's beef isolate, which is great because I personally can't do the whey. It breaks me out. So Equip or Aura protein, shake it up, let it sit overnight, and then in the morning I'll add like some blueberries, maybe some coconut yogurt. I add my seed cycling blend because I do seed cycling.
You do that too.
And then like a couple turkey sausages or chicken sausages on the side just to like up the protein even more. And then matcha latte with collagen, and that's like 50 grams of protein right there. So
you guys, we just gave you breakfast ideas, okay? And these all are, you make your stuff the night before a lot, don't you?
I do.
I make all my stuff the night before. Yeah.
And it sets you up for healthier decisions the next day. All right, so number 2 on our list is don't fear carbs and fats. We kind of already talked about this a little bit, but people are so into protein right now that I feel like they're letting carbs and fats go by the wayside, and they're actually so important. Like every cell in your body runs on glucose, which comes from carbs. brain function, you need carbs to do that. And then healthy fats are so important for hormone production and regulation, skin, again, brain function. Like, these macronutrients are so important for other bodily functions. So it's not just protein that matters.
And I can tell you guys right now, I'm on prep for a show. It's probably why I'm a little unhinged these last 2 episodes and slightly unfocused. I have 7 weeks left by the time you guys see this. I may have already competed. But I am very low in carbs and protein right now. And I wake up sometimes feeling a little bit delusional. So please just eat your carbs and your fats. I think one thing I do want to talk about here is kind of like debunk a theory. Is a lot of people think they need to eliminate carbs, eliminate fats. Kind of like how we talked about earlier in the episode. If eliminating a food group that you enjoy, don't eliminate a food group you enjoy, it's not going to be sustainable to you. But the other thing is, I hear a lot is, Morgan, I stopped eating carbs and I lost weight. Okay, that doesn't prove to me anything.
Yeah.
Because you not eating carbs, all it's doing is reducing your overall food intake. So let's say you normally eat 2,000 calories a day, and then you don't eat, 150 grams of carbs. Whatever that math is, times 150 times 4 would be how many calories you're eating less. So you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit by not eating carbs. But there is other ways you don't need to just get rid of carbs to be in a calorie deficit. You can just reduce overall your intake, or reduce your protein, or reduce your fats. Fats are the highest caloric macronutrient. For every 1 gram of fat, it's 9 calories. So you can reduce your fat intake a little bit. You can reduce everything overall and still keep those things medium. I'll keep them all moderate and still be in a deficit. So carbs are not making you gain weight. Carbs are not making you lose weight. It's the deficit, the surplus, or the maintenance level that's making you gain, lose, or maintain. So just want to put that out there. But yes, what you said was totally 100% right. You do need, carbs are such a great function. And make sure, too, when you guys are eating carbs, you are drinking enough water, which we're going to get into another topic. But, yeah, I'm going to stop with my rant there.
I just want to quickly differentiate the difference between complex carbs and simple carbs. I think this is kind of why there's a lot of confusion about carbs, because I personally feel that complex carbs are a lot healthier. So simple carbs are going to be your white bread, your pasta, your cakes, your cookies, things of that nature, versus complex carbs are going to be sweet potatoes, quinoa, legumes and beans, apples, like things like that. They break down slower, so they don't give you as much of a blood sugar spike.
Which is why you also get fuller when you eat them.
Right.
Which is why you can eat 25 cookies, but you can't eat a full cup of rice.
And just on the topic of that, you actually need more carbs during your luteal and menstrual phase. So if you guys are a little bit hungrier during those phases, kick up the complex carbs a little bit, and that should help. And then as for fats, again, I want to differentiate between unhealthy fats and healthy fats. So healthy fats are going to be the unsaturated fats. Think olive oil, avocados, nuts, nut butters, like grass-fed cow's butter, ghee, beef tallow. I think that's pretty much it. And then your saturated fats are like the more unhealthy, like seed oils and fried foods, processed foods, those types of things. Those saturated fats are really inflammatory towards the body. That's why I feel like there's a whole thing about seed oils right now and staying away from them. So yeah, just wanted to make that clear when we're talking about fats.
Yeah.
They just break down differently in your body. So keep that in mind. All right, so moving on to number 3, balancing your blood sugar. This is really how I like to build and structure my meals. I feel like this has helped me a lot on my hormone balancing journey after coming off birth control. So I really like to build my plate as follows. So protein as the priority, healthy fats, and fiber. This is going to help to lower that blood sugar spike, which can help to balance your hormones, because think of it, insulin is a hormone. So if that is going up and going down, dipping really low and skyrocketing super high, that's going to affect your other hormones and affect everything, PMS and all of that kind of stuff. So that is kind of like my philosophy for a lot of my clients who are dealing with those PMS symptoms, fatigue, breakouts, mood swings. I talked a little bit about how I was vegan a long time ago, and it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I really started prioritizing protein, specifically animal proteins, and the difference I felt in my mood and my anxiety was crazy. Like, I feel like when you eat a super carb heavy meal that is lacking in protein, I would feel super like anxious and like spazzy after eating, versus if I prioritize protein. And also it depends what order you eat the things in. So I really try to like, if I do have carbs on the plate, which usually I do, I try to eat those last, because if you start with carbs on an empty stomach, your blood sugar is gonna skyrocket. So I'll typically like eat the meat first, or like most of it, and go into my veggies, and then like have the carbs as like a little dessert. That's just like a little bonus tip that I've got from the Glucose Goddess on Instagram. I love her so much.
Shout out to the Glucose Goddess.
So you guys need to check her out if you're interested in like balancing your blood sugar, which can also help with weight loss, of course. So that's a huge thing. And just trying to pair those carbs with a fat or with a protein to reduce that spike, I think, is the main thing, and avoiding those like low dips. So I really am trying to eat like every 3 to 4 hours. I don't want to get too low, because I can see how it affects me. I can see how it affects my mood. I kind of get a little bit irritable and angry, and I don't want to be treating people like that. So I always have like a chomp stick in my purse, or like a protein bar or whatever if I'm out on the go. So that's a great tip as well.
Yeah, definitely that like 3 meals a day thing is like out the door. I eat like right now I eat 5 times a day, but I mean sometimes even in my off season I kept eating 6 times a day. Wow. And those are like pretty big meals.
Yeah.
But I mean that goes for blood sugar and for your metabolism. You kind of want everything to be here. Yeah. Anytime you have these big dips, it's not ideal. You know, you don't want your body to be absolutely starving. Ever. So, you know, once you start to feel that hunger, but again, you guys, if you are under eating and you're going to look at this episode and say, well, I never even feel hungry. Well, a big sign of under eating is that you shut off the ghrelin hormone in your stomach. Yes. So your body might be really hungry, but it's not going to tell you that it's hungry, because that hormone shut off. Because when you don't eat enough, and I know this is going back to earlier in the episode, but like when you're not eating enough, what's going to happen is that ghrelin hormone is going to shut off, which is what tells you what's hungry and when you're full. And so your body, like I already said, your body's hungry, but you don't feel it.
Yeah, you don't have those hunger cues.
Yes,
anymore.
And so you have to make sure that you are eating enough, and doing what Morgan is saying by eating a couple times a day, eating 3 times a day, eating 3-4 hours apart, doing that on a consistent schedule, and then you'll kind of start to feel that hunger again and be able to gauge, you know, how much or how little.
And going off that just reminded me, another thing I preach a lot to my clients is eating within 90 minutes of waking up, just to avoid that dip again, and breaking your fast with protein especially, I think is also really helpful. And a lot of people, when I tell them that, they're like, well, I'm not hungry in the morning. And again, that goes back to what you're saying. There's a hormone imbalance. There's something off. So if you really feel like you're not hungry in the morning, I would never normally say this, but just start off with like some berries, just to get yourself in the habit of eating breakfast, and then you can grow it from there, and then hopefully eventually add some animal protein or any kind of protein. But that is just like a good tip that I give people who are really struggling to eat in the morning. Yeah,
I'm going to give a quick example here. So I just recently started helping my mom, because she was eating like once a day or twice a day, and then she was snacking like all the time, and she's like, I'm eating enough, whatever. And I'm like, okay, how much you want to bet that if I give you a plan and you follow it, like you are going to be so full you're not even going to be able to like eat, like because you're going to be adding these whole foods, you're going to be eating multiple times throughout the day, you're going to be having breakfast, whatever. So the first week we had like her calories were still so low because she wasn't barely eating anything before. And so week number 1, I remember she texted me in the morning, and it was literally like an instant pack of oatmeal with like some berries in it, and she's like, I am so full.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, I'm not hungry, I can't even eat. I'm like, eat. And now we're on week 4, and she's like pounding her breakfast, and she's starting to feel hungry, and she's upping her calories almost every other week just about, because she gets really full when we up them, and then she needs like 1 more week to adjust, and then she starts feeling hungry, and then we up them again. So
and it is a quick adjustment, I feel like.
Your body adjusts quick, because your body wants to eat. It wants to turn on these functions, but it can't turn on the functions if it's not eating enough.
And I don't even know how people start their day and jump into their work day without eating breakfast. It blows my mind. Same. I don't understand it. We need this fuel to like have brain power, so
I literally can't wait until
breakfast.
I eat at 9 a.m. every day. I literally count down.
I look forward to it. And I like wake up hungry. Like
Same.
I'm like, I can't wait to eat my chia pudding.
Yes, literally, yes. Okay, so move on to number 5? Or sorry, no, number 4.
Yeah.
So number 4, I mean, there's not too much to say about water, but I will say, like, some girls, I think I had someone text me the other day, I'm like, how's your water intake? And they're like, oh, my water intake's great. I drink 40 ounces a day. 40 ounces a day?
You don't think that's enough for her?
That's enough for a newborn child.
Yeah.
A good staple that we use in the bodybuilding world is you should be drinking your body weight in ounces of...
Oh, your body weight? I thought it was half your body weight.
Oh, gosh, no. How much water are you drinking? I'm really concerned right now.
I don't know. I guess I do, like...
Please say at least 5 of those.
5? I do, like, 2 or 3 of those. But I also am drinking matcha, drinking herbal tea.
Yeah, okay. That's more fluids, yeah. A good staple that we say in the bodybuilding world is you should drink your body weight in ounces of water a day at least.
Okay.
I will say, so guilty, I had a kidney stone like 3 years ago. I had to have emergency surgery to get it taken out because when I tell you guys I did not drink water, literally the only water that I would drink would be to pound my ibuprofen that I was taking to get the foot away with, to get the pain down in my leg. But normally it wasn't even water, it'd be coffee. So sometimes I wouldn't even drink a lick of water throughout the entire day. Now I go through like 5 of my Stanleys, which is like over a gallon. But it's taking me a lot to get there, but try to at least get over 100 ounces of water.
I feel like at least half your body weight in ounces to your body weight in ounces. Another thing I've recently been hearing a lot about is like if you're just drinking straight water, gallon a day or something, like that can be actually flushing out the minerals as well. So you need to replenish with electrolytes or like I sometimes see people throw like some sea salt in their water just so that you're actually like hydrating those cells because they need the minerals as well versus just like flushing it out. Yeah.
So that's a little tip on hydration.
And then also like a little side note to hydration is also digestion. We kind of talked about this when we touched on the fiber. I personally think that you should be having 1 to 3 bowel movements a day. And if you're not detoxing those toxins out and you're just going to like store them in other parts of your body, which can cause a lot more serious health issues down the line. And jumping off of that is like this whole concept of mindful eating. So not eating when you're stressed, not eating during work, or like even I'm so guilty of this, like a YouTube video while I eat. Really just trying to like slow down, make sure your body is in a calm state when you're eating, because otherwise it's gonna impact your digestion. If your body is in that state of stress, it's not gonna be able to digest, versus if you were to like sit down, breathe, chew each bite like a lot, and just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of digestive issues are due to being stressed while you eat, and like that's an uncommon thing that people don't really think about. So just wanted to add that, because you can't absorb the nutrients if your body is inflamed. So you might be eating this healthy diet, but if your body's inflamed, it's not even using those nutrients. So you kind of need to be balanced with that. Yeah.
All right, so number 5, we want to talk about how we can get started. I guess I can kind of start on that. So I'm going to kind of reference some of the things that we already talked about, and obviously there's so many different approaches to this, but if you guys really have no idea where to get started, you have no background, you're just trying to learn off of Instagram or YouTube or your favorite influencer, here's a good simple way that you can apply, you know, kind of in any way to kind of get started. So the first thing that I would do is there is a lot of really great calculator estimators out there for like how much your body needs a day to maintain its energy and what it needs. I'm gonna link a couple. We can link a couple in the description, but talking out loud, my team that I'm on, Team Reform, they have a really good one online where you can put in your height, your weight, how active you are, and it'll kind of give you an estimation. There are outliers, but like, of course, there are some people that some randomly burn 6,000 calories a day and they're really high eaters, but that's going to be the minority here. So a lot of times this is a really good place to gauge if you have no idea how much you should be eating. So first I recommend, you know, calculating that and figuring out what might be a good place for you to start. And then from there, you can determine based on your own internal cues, like, okay, I am still hungry, so that means this was a little bit off, I need to eat a little bit more, or I am so full, I'm uncomfortable, which means it was a little bit off, so then I need to eat a little bit less. But start with that calculator, and kind of you can build from there once you kind of have a little bit of data. Step 2 would be to like track your food on an app for like 1 day, and you guys do this in a positive way. We are not tracking to imprison ourselves to numbers. We are tracking, like I said earlier, just to collect data, just to know that we are at number 10, so we know if we need to go to 11 or 12, 13, 14, 15, or if we need to go to 9, 10, 11, not, you know, 8, 9, 10, or whatever, 10, 9, 8. I can't count backwards. Sorry. So it's just to collect data for 1 day to see where you are at compared to what that calculator is giving you. And maybe where you're at, you're still hungry. Maybe where you're at, you're so full, but at least we need to collect that data. So number one is the calculator. Understand where maybe you should be. Number two, compare where you're currently at to those calculating numbers, and then understand if you maybe need to eat more or less and how to shift your macros with those with what those numbers should be. Number three is going to be to start build a kind of like a food schedule for yourself and like some goals. So let's just say, okay, I'm gonna eat 4 times a day. I'm gonna eat breakfast, I'm gonna eat lunch, I'm gonna have a snack when I get home from work, and then I'm gonna eat dinner. That's 4 times. Let me try and do that. And then just try to stay consistent with that, because the more you can stay consistent, the more you're gonna turn on that hunger hormone, and you're gonna start feeling it. And then you can, like Morgan was saying, organize your plate in a way where you have your proteins, your fiber, your carbs, your fats. Organize your plate like that for each one of those meals, and then just see how you feel. Really, really listen to your body. And in terms of all of that, make sure before you start all of this, you are doing I know you kind of used to do this a little bit, but help people go through their pantry.
Oh yeah, pantry clean out.
Pantry clean out, food clean out, all that stuff. What you don't have in your house, you can't eat. Okay, so if you don't have cookies in your house, you can't eat cookies unless you go somewhere. So try to fill your fridge and your pantry with whole foods so you can pull from those every day to make your meals from. So, and then just start seeing how you feel. Start with those 3 to 4 meals. Track them maybe a couple days a week to see where you're at. See if you're hitting those estimated numbers. Address how you're feeling. Sit down with yourself if you can't hire a coach or something like Morgan or whatnot to see how you're feeling, and then make those adjustments as you go. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys at least a little bit of an idea on how you can maybe get started with some of the information.
Yeah, I love those. And I think just one more quick one is finding your staple meals that are reliable, that taste good, that are balanced, that are healthy, and then you can just fall back on those. I have probably 4 or 5 dinners that we just rotate because they're safe, they're staple, they fit my food goals, and it's not what are we going to make for dinner tonight?
And too, just to build on that, once you guys find foods that you like that are quote healthier options, it's not you're not oh, I don't want to eat that. I've never said oh, I don't want to eat my whatever tonight, because I have found ways.
I'm fixated on this chia pudding.
Exactly. You get, there's so many good things on Instagram. We gave some suggestions today.
Check out my Instagram for recipes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Morgan. What's your Morgan's Mindful?
At Morgan's Mindful Healing. I post a lot of what I'm cooking on there. So.
Yes, and she has some good recipes. Seriously, you guys, you need to look. But it's not a negative thing. Yeah. Okay, finding what works for you is not a negative thing. Yeah. I will say one thing, that when you guys when you guys start on your health journey, you are going to get a lot of criticism from other people. And we could talk about that in another episode, but really quick, because you guys might listen to this and want to jump into action tomorrow. You're going to have to make a little bit of sacrifices. Trying to switch to a more balanced and healthier, lifestyle does come with some sacrifices, but just remind the people around you that they're not eating what you're eating, so it doesn't affect them. And I think that's the one thing that I've been told so much, oh my God, why do you have to eat that? Well, you're not eating it, so how about you just stop talking? Yeah. It doesn't affect you. I'm still here. I'm still spending quality time with you, so it doesn't really matter. And my husband's great. I would literally, on prep, I will bring my meal to restaurants and I'll dump it in a bowl and I'll eat it, and he couldn't give a crap. He's just happy that I'm there. Okay, so just know that it does come with sacrifices. Think about that 80-20 rule, where you're doing really good Monday all the way through Friday, and then having some fun but being mindful on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. Don't be afraid to tell people no. Don't be afraid to order something different or turn down that alcoholic drink. Do things for yourself, and people are not going to be happy sometimes, and they're going to feel self-conscious that you're making better decisions for yourself, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't make those better decisions for yourself. So yeah, that's kind of my closing note, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. I co-sign.
Co-sign, sign, seal, deliver. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. We hope that you have enjoyed these episodes so far. As always, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Share this with somebody you think might help. And comment on any other episodes or questions you guys might have. Yes. Have anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.